thank you guys for joining me today, and really happy to talk with both of you guys and share a little bit about what we're doing here at Mining Hub.
Yeah, Carl, as you know, of course, as our audience probably doesn't, I have been talking with you guys since the early days. And back then, I was really impressed with what you were able to bring to the table. But I've watched it grow and, done some volunteer consulting with you and given you some advice. But I feel like I've always been one step behind because you've come up with so many great new tools that I hadn't considered yet. And I just continually get blown away. And this release of the pro services is something that is really amazing. I'm glad to be here and help you give people a tour of the powerful tools that you've now given them and how to use it. It's just really amazing.
Yeah, I agree with Brian as well. I'm a little bit new to Mining Hub, but I've been diving into it quite deep, and it's absolutely fantastic. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for myself and my partner, Andrew, in building this, I mean, we come from industry. My background's GIS Corp Dev, but I was about 12 years boots on the ground up in Nunavut. And it's hard in our space. I didn't realize, in the earlier days, but more so even on the corporate side, there's just so much happening. And I think there's always been a need for this sort of type of information, especially in this modern age. To know who's who in the zoo, who's doing what, and, just understand it better. I mean, we need a good resource for that. And so the approach we tried to take is again, more of a modern style and bringing current information into a way that, anyone can come in and access it and understand it. So, I mean, for anyone that is not familiar with the interface, we tie all of the news location or the news of the day into locations where they're actually happening. And that's what we're seeing on the map here. And just like any queryable database, like an Airbnb modern style, I mean, there's spatial locations and then there's information coming in, and the same is true on here. But I mean, obviously it's a living database. So every day, there's new news articles that are popping up, and what we do on our side is keep everything organized. So anything that's a financing or a drilling result, it's always tying into the actual project where that information is happening, and anyone can come on here and see who's next door and this sort of stuff. So for us, we manage a lot. I mean, we're managing this globally for all of the pubcos out there. And it's kind of a nice way that someone can come in and, just do a little bit more homework on anything. When you are clicking on a project, there's a lot of high level information that you're going to see associated, obviously stock information, project name and commodities and the stage. But yeah, I'll jump into the pro side. And I mean, Nikki, you looked at this more recently. So, I mean, for you coming into it, fairly new to it, what did you kind of think about it out of the gates? And did you have any questions immediately upon entering it? I mean, I'm tuned into seeing it all the time that I forget.
Yeah. Well, as I'm new, I think the thing is that I really like about it is, I said, it brings basically 5 websites together, and it consolidates all of that information. So coming from the marketing and IR side, time is of the essence. And if you can go to one place on a daily basis, have one, knowledge website that you can go to, that's really where I've seen the benefits of it. And in this industry, knowledge is power. Knowing who your peers are and what they are and what they're staying up to date and staying on their news, that's a major thing. And that's what I'm really finding with Mining Hub. And it's a huge benefit for my daily sort of routine. So no questions as of right now, because I'm still kind of even just getting used to the pro. But I'll let you kind of get into it. And I think Brian can probably shed a little bit of light on that as well.
Yeah, for me, I find that the market movers is one of the most powerful tools for me to see what's happening that day and why. Is it a news release? Is it something going on in the background? Is there more than normal volume for that stock or less than normal volume? And I can quickly go through that list and see where there's news that or movements that are news related. And in some cases, if a company appears on that market movers list for a few days in a row or a few days out of a week with no news being released, then I know that somebody's accumulating that stock for some reason. So I find that to be really a very powerful tool for me. And you've added to that with the pro service now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, we used to track kind of the impactful news, and we would, there's a few different ways to determine what's impactful. Typically, it's what, how the market's reacting to it. So, I mean, we were doing that before. What we've done now in the new pro side is taken that and then added that, spatial layer and level into it. And you can kind of see. So what I just did here is I went in on the side and went to the movers tab. And this is last week, so it's always nice to look at some recent information. So over the course of last week, we're seeing kind of the volume movers or I should say the share price movers. But when you do come in here, we can set thresholds. So we could say let's say volume over 10,000 and let's say a market cap over 20 mil or something like that. So we can really weed this down by whatever parameters we're really looking for. I know there was some pretty big drilling results that we wrote about in our weekly. So one of the examples here was Q2 Metals. They recently had nice drilling results out, and it's good to see where that project is, but also I think to your point as well, it's who else is around it, right? The peers in the area here, and some of the other ones from last week that jumped out were Sun Summit out in BC.
Mm-hmm.
I got to filter the market cap here.
Yeah, the market cap would have to go down for that. That one was kind of frustrating for me. I was actually writing up a recommendation in Gold newsletter and finished writing it up, but didn't get the newsletter out when their big drill results came out and the stock went up 50%. But I still came out with a recommendation because those drill results were very important because they proved the theory that they're operating on, or helped to validate it. And it deserved that big move in the market, but I think there's a lot more coming up. But what's important to that is that essentially was an area play trying to prove the same kind of mineralization that Thesis gold. Yeah. And so it is a great example of the power of this system, where you can look at companies that have big resources or big news and see what's around them. In some cases, I would imagine really beat the rest of the market to finding what that next potential discovery is in an area play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or at least a mover in an area play.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Brian. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the other, I guess, features outside of that, is that are new in the Pro. So the interface is a little bit different than the legacy version. So really, it's more just of a modern dynamic display, I guess, just to show you an example. So whatever you're looking at in the viewport is what's going to populate into here. Because a lot of the time, normally we have a newsroom that we still have that. But it's nice to zoom in on whatever you're looking at on the map, right, and see that. Be that projects or whatever the case may be. So all that's always just going to be dictated by what you're zoomed into. Another side that's new would be the drilling results and bringing that in here on the map as well. Show you a quick example of what that looks like when we're talking about pure analysis. What are some of the recent results over the last 30 days so far as a certain commodity, right? And kind of benchmark, against who else might be around in a certain area. We could set this quite a bit back. Pretty good to see that sort of stuff in here. And I guess to the same token, all of these different layers we're looking at here, whatever filter we want to bring in, we could look at 30 days for news releases and, essentially say maybe just drilling results and find all that sort of stuff. So that's all in here. There's a number of different parameters we could set.
Mm-hmm. I really like this peer tool too. And it's not even at a lower level, just for even finding out who's in the area generally. So it's like you can go down to who's in Chile, who's doing copper, and who's in the general area of the other companies. And I think that's very valuable for a marketing and IR standpoint as well. So
yeah. So one, I guess on that note, because a lot of this information is all spatial, right? Mm-hmm. So what we've built into here on the Pro side is the ability to have customizable watch lists in here as well. Because obviously, not everybody's going to be interested in the same jurisdictions, and there might be different motives behind it. So when you're on Pro, you can basically create whatever kind of watch list you'd want. And what's unique about doing it here, watch lists are just lists, right? There's nothing special about it. But what's unique, I'd suppose, to this would be that we can apply spatial filters. And so I suppose amongst the different avatar types out there, let's say it's a drilling contractor as an example, that's looking for, that maybe they're only operating in British Columbia. So we can go in here and so let's create a watch list here. So BC. Okay. So we'll add a spatial filter and type in British Columbia. and save that. And so what that'll do is on my kind of user, side here, it's going to pull every project in our system that's within BC. And now we can see all of the companies that are operating in here. I got a pretty big monitor, so I'll zoom in a bit here. And filter this out. So, I mean, maybe if we are, let's say, a drilling company and we're looking for, potential clients, we might be curious of, well, which ones of them have recently done a financing, or which one of them, has planned drilling coming up. And by doing it this way, it just saves a lot of time, right? I mean, you can focus in on the area of interest regionally, and then filter furthermore by whatever we want, be that news tags associated, like drilling or financings, or maybe even just by a market cap. I mean, there could be a number of different parameters we want to set, even commodities kind of associated with those projects. So it's a pretty slick way to kind of do that. And then, furthermore, see the newsroom associated with these companies. So pretty fast, pretty sleek way to be able to do that and kind of just keep tabs. Like any watch list, you can create ones that are non-spatial and add whatever companies you want into those sort of things. I don't know if I showed you that before, Brian, but anyway, that's there.
Yeah, the custom watch list. Now, those watch lists can be saved, right?
Yeah, it'll save. You can have as many as you want on here. So it could be prospects, it could be early stage copper projects in BC, or whatever you want. They'll all save, but they're just linked to the user profile that you create when you have a login. So I guess we can just look back at, what's popping today here. Yeah, so U.S. Gold Mining Inc. Was another one from last week, and so they had previously they'd announced those drill results that were received quite well by the market, and then I believe this morning they put out an updated resource. So I think they doubled it from memory. So again, a great way to see what the market is liking and reacting to, obviously.
I think one of the other things, and like I said, because I'm relatively new to Mining Hub, but one of the other I really like is the transparency of the emails that you get every morning. I like how it's listed. I like how it's like it dictates where the jurisdiction is, and it shows exactly, it's not where the head office is based, it's where the project's based. So you're able to kind of go through, and it already does the sorting for you. So it does drill results, it does financial updates. So if you're looking for something right at 6:30 in the morning and you want to know what's the biggest news, it's all listed really well in that email that I really appreciate. So it kind of does that little bit of extra work for you. So I don't want to say you don't have to think, but you kind of don't have to. So
but it's so clearly presented, exactly what's relevant today.
Yeah.
What's happening today, that's important. And I've even seen these featured in company decks when they have a big drill result, or they want to focus or feature a big drill hole in their deck. They typically take a screenshot of this, your daily e-letter, that shows where that drill hole ranked on the day. So it is so clearly presented, and is really becoming the go-to in the industry, I think.
I totally agree with Brian. I see people sharing it on their social medias, sharing it on X, LinkedIn, and that's it. It pulls all the data for those mining companies. So it's definitely a go-to in the industry for sure.
So we always break it out, drilling results in the top. And that's I guess, there's time and work that goes into that, and that's what we're doing. That's why our day starts quite early, is we're making sure that obviously it's organized. That's one side, but similarly, when you do click on a news release, you'll see it like you can anywhere, but you're also going to drive into where that project is, which is so crucial, right? I think actually it's funny. I think we're right back to where Sun Summit is with this one here. Yeah. There you go. Lots going on in BC.
Yeah, and there's nothing that I've seen out there that even approaches this, because you can get lists of the news of the day, but it literally is just a running list of news release headlines.
Yeah.
To have it organized like this, to be able to see which ones are important on the day, click on it, and then see right down to a map where the project is and where everything else is around it, what is around it. That's extremely powerful, and especially for the kind of market that we're not in right now, but I believe we're getting into, one where news actually matters for companies, and news actually moves stock. So that's going to be the kind of market where you're going to have an edge or want to have an edge on everybody else.
So there will be, a market insights that we'll put out. We'll try to do them daily, and we'll have certainly a weekly one. But yeah, here we go. So yeah, I mean, this is one other side that we, include with the pro is an area play insight. So we'll try to do these. Well, we'll certainly be doing these weekly, and just touch on the, over the weekend, what kind of moved the needle the most. So some of those ones we did just cover was Sun Summit here. In this email, you're going to see kind of the, a little bit of a take on what was happening and some of the high kind of key points of it. As well as, everyone else that's in the area around it. So thesis, like you'd mentioned there. And, we'll typically, we'll see on the week, obviously, how many things are moving and shaking on that. But, thesis Q2 were some of them. Golden Caribou as well was up off of drill results. The market seemed to like that. And who else do we have? U.S. gold mining. Yeah. So, yeah, it's I think it's going to be really exciting to see, where the progression kind of goes with this side of things. Obviously on the pro, there's quite a bit more that we have on the burner that we'll be bringing out as well to add a little bit more value and hopefully not overwhelm everyone too much. But it's meant to be a resource for all, right? I mean, and I think obviously when we're building this, we're always trying to be very cognizant of the different user types and but always keep it focused on transparency of information out there and just a modern way to view and see this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's much more a power user can discover and use, but just the basic tools are not intimidating at all and of immense value for an active junior resource investor.
Mm-hmm.
You get at a glance, exactly what's happening and what's going on in the area and what's moving stocks and what stocks are moving on any particular day. And you can quickly drill down to find out why they're moving. And in some cases, a lack of information is as important as the information, because if a stock is not moving for any apparent reason, then sometimes those are the ones you need to get in on quick.
Yeah, for anyone that's interested and wants to use this tool and at your leisure, you can visit app.mininghub.com and create a free login there and just jump right into the trial and play around. And yeah, Brian, looking forward to the show in New Orleans coming up here. It's going to be an exciting one.
Yep, that's coming up November 20th to 23rd. Great speakers, great exhibitors in our exhibit hall. I think the market's at a really important point right now where you can make money in this market. And more importantly, I think we're starting a new secular bull market in metals and mining, and this will be the place to be. So quick pitch. Go to goldnewsletter.com. You can certainly go there, but neworleansconference.com to learn about this year's event and our illustrious faculty that will be presenting.
Yeah, last year's show was one of my favorites of the whole year, that's for sure. And it's a great setting down in New Orleans. It's a lot of fun down there.
Yes, it can be a lot of fun, but we try to bring a lot of the ambiance of New Orleans into the event. But you'll be there and hopefully be able to give some demonstrations to people in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for your time, both you and Nikki. Thanks as well for jumping on your side there. It's always great to chat.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Carl. It was great, and great seeing you again, Brian.
You too, Nikki. I'll see you in New Orleans. Thank you.
New Orleans. Thanks. Okay, bye.